1 Chronicles Chapter 13. And David took counsel with the captains of the thousands and of the hundreds, with every leader. And David said to all the congregation of Israel, If it seems good to you, and it is from Jehovah our God, let us send far and wide to our brothers who remain in all the land of Israel and to the priests and the Levites who are with them in their cities with pasture lands, that they may gather themselves to us. And let us bring back the Ark of our God to ourselves, for we did not inquire of it in the days of Saul. And all the congregation said that they would do so, for the matter was right in the sight of all the people. And David gathered all Israel together from the Shihor of Egypt even to the entrance of Hamath to bring the Ark of God from Kiriath-jearim. And David went up with all Israel to Baalah, that is, to Kiriath-jearim, which is Judah's, to bring up from there the Ark of God, of Jehovah, who sits enthroned between the cherubim, which is called by the name. And they set the Ark of God upon a new cart from the house of Abinadab, and Uzzah and Ahio drove the cart. And David and all Israel played before God with all their strength, even with songs and with lyres and with harps and with tambourines and with cymbals and with trumpets. And when they came to Chidon's threshing floor, Uzzah stretched out his hand to take hold of the ark, for the oxen had stumbled. And the anger of Jehovah was kindled against Uzzah, and he struck him because he stretched out his hand to the ark, and he died there before God. And David was angry because Jehovah had broken forth with an outburst upon Uzzah, and he called that place Perez Uzzah, as it is to this day. And David was afraid of God that day, saying, How shall I bring the Ark of God to myself? So David did not remove the ark to himself to the city of David, but he carried it aside into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. And the Ark of God remained with the house of Obed-Edom in his house 3 months, and Jehovah blessed the house of Obed-Edom and all that he had. 1 Chronicles Chapter 14. And Hiram the king of Tyre sent messengers to David, as well as cedar timbers and masons and carpenters to build a house for him. And David perceived that Jehovah had established him as king over Israel and that his kingdom was highly exalted for the sake of his people Israel. And David took more wives in Jerusalem, and David begot more sons and daughters. And these are the names of those who were born, whom he had in Jerusalem, Shammua and Shobab and Nathan and Solomon. And Ibhar and Elishua and Elplet. And Noga and Nepheg and Japhia. And Elishama and Beliada and Eliphalet. Now when the Philistines heard that David was anointed king over all Israel, all the Philistines went up in search of David, and David heard of it and went out against them. And the Philistines came and made a raid in the valley of Rephaim. Then David inquired of God, saying, Shall I go up against the Philistines? Will you deliver them into my hand? And Jehovah said to him, Go up, and I will deliver them into your hand. And they went up to Baal-perazim, and David struck them there. And David said, God has broken forth upon my enemies by my hand like the breaking forth of a flood. Therefore they called the name of that place Baal-perazim. And they left their gods there, and David gave the order, and they were burned with fire. And the Philistines made yet another raid in the valley. And David inquired again of God, and God said to him, You shall not go up after them, go around behind them, and come upon them opposite the balsam trees. And when you hear the sound of marching in the tops of the balsam trees, then you shall go out to battle, for God will have gone forth before you to strike the army of the Philistines. And David did as God had commanded him, and they struck down the army of the Philistines from Gibeon even unto Gezer. And David's fame went forth among all the lands, and Jehovah put the fear of him upon all the nations. 1 Chronicles Chapter 15. And David made houses for himself in the city of David, and he prepared a place for the Ark of God and pitched a tent for it. Then David said, "None should bear the Ark of God except the Levites, for Jehovah has chosen them to bear the Ark of Jehovah and to minister to him forever." So David assembled all Israel at Jerusalem in order to bring up the Ark of Jehovah to its place, which he had prepared for it. And David gathered the sons of Aaron and the Levites. Of the sons of Kohath, Uriel the leader, and his brothers, 120. Of the sons of Merari, Asaiah the leader, and his brothers, 220. Of the sons of Gershom, Joel the leader, and his brothers, 130. Of the sons of Elizaphan, Shemaiah the leader, and his brothers, 200. Of the sons of Hebron, Eliel the leader, and his brothers, 80. Of the sons of Uzziel, Amminadab the leader, and his brothers, 112. And David called for Zadok and Abiathar the priests and the Levites, for Uriel, Asaiah and Joel, Shemaiah and Eliel and Amminadab. And he said to them, "You are the heads of the fathers' houses of the Levites, sanctify yourselves, you and your brothers, and bring up the Ark of Jehovah the God of Israel to the place that I have prepared for it. For because you did not bring it up the first time, Jehovah our God broke forth upon us, for we did not seek him according to the ordinance." So the priests and the Levites sanctified themselves in order to bring up the Ark of Jehovah the God of Israel. And the sons of the Levites bore the Ark of God as Moses had commanded, according to the word of Jehovah, upon their shoulders with the poles upon them. And David told the leaders of the Levites to appoint their brothers as singers with musical instruments, harps, lyres, loud-sounding cymbals to raise sounds of joy. So the Levites appointed Heman the son of Joel, and of his brothers, Asaph the son of Berechiah, and of the sons of Merari their brothers, Ethan the son of Kishiah. And with them their brothers of the second order, Zechariah, and Jaziel, and Shemiramoth and Jehiel and Uni, Eliab and Benaiah and Messiah and Mattathiah and Eliphelahu and Micniah, and Obed-Edom and Jeiel, the doorkeepers. So the singers, Heman, Asaph, and Ethan, were appointed to sound aloud with bronze cymbals. And Zechariah and Aziel and Shemiramoth and Jehiel and Uni and Eliab and Messiah and Benaiah with harps set to Alamoth. And Mattathiah and Eliphelahu and Micniah and Obed-Edom and Jeiel and Azaziah were appointed to lead with lyres set to Sheminith. And Shenaniah, the leader of the Levites, was over the song, he instructed about the song, because he was skillful. And Berechiah and Elkanah were doorkeepers for the ark. And Shebaniah and Joshaphat and Nethanel and Amasai and Zechariah and Benaiah and Eleazar, the priests, blew the trumpets before the Ark of God, and Obed-Edom and Jehiah were doorkeepers for the ark. So David and the elders of Israel and the captains of thousands went to bring up the Ark of the covenant of Jehovah from the house of Obed-Edom with rejoicing. And because God helped the Levites who bore the Ark of the covenant of Jehovah, they sacrificed 7 bulls and 7 rams. And David was clothed with a fine linen robe, as were all the Levites who bore the ark and the singers and Shenaniah, the song leader of the singers, and David had on a linen ephod. So all Israel brought up the Ark of the covenant of Jehovah with shouting and with the sound of the horn and with trumpets and with cymbals, sounding aloud with harps and lyres. And when the Ark of the covenant of Jehovah came to the city of David, Michal the daughter of Saul looked down through a window and saw King David dancing and playing, and she despised him in her heart.